we want to go back to the time of Jesus' execution again to clarify this subject matter of debt in sin and how our civil system operates in this. The interesting thing to note about the execution of Jesus was after when they were trying him, they admitted the collective audience of the civil registrants that were the mob, uh, the crowd, the multitude that was around him, said, "The blood be on us." They would take on the onus, okay, of this debt, okay. Now Jesus was dying for the righteous and the unrighteous, but these people were denying he was not only the Messiah, the Son of God, but they were going to deny his ransom sacrifice of dying for them, and therefore they would act as they do in civil society to be the surety of a title debt that was registered on them for the purposes of being known as a civil registrant participant in commerce, as what these nations were involved in, such as Rome. So when we use the word us, it's a collective word. And when you apply for a birth certificate, okay, you're actually authorizing the legal system of the government to collect information on you, which is private, and the person named on the birth certificate, which represents the collective debt, the us, because it's a name that's assigned onto you for common use. Commoners were considered hirelings, plebeians, lowlifes, debtors. We have a house of prostitutes. We call it the House of Commons, but that's what common means in the sense of what it's used. It's a house of prostitution for hirelings. And you have prostitution representatives for your hireling behavior. We call those MPs or MPPs. So I know this may be offensive to a lot of people listening to this, because it may be just like being poured cold water on you right now of truth. But this is exactly how it operates. And so the people who consent to take on the debt, they would need someone to host that. And therefore, that would be like saying you can be the surety for another sinner for the collective debt. Well, we know that Scripture says that no man could do this in reality other than Christ, who came, who was the Son of God, who knew not debt or sin. He had none. So therefore, by you participating in it, you're actually doing that. You're actually trying to take over Christ's role that was already done. So when we go to Matthew, again, chapter 27-25, it says, "Then answered all the people," this is the multitude, "who said, 'Crucify him,' and said, 'His blood be on us and on our children.'" So it was bad enough that they took it upon themselves. They actually passed it on to their children, who they were going to train down the same path. And therefore, it's not out of the ordinary that we're informing or acting as criminal informants on our children who are innocent, who aren't able to touch the debt or the sin, and therefore not make a private claim to trespass on the public or Caesar's property. But unfortunately, that's what they were accusing Jesus of, trespassing on Caesar's jurisdiction, which he wasn't. But when they executed him for it, that canceled out any ability for Caesar to come after anybody after that is under Christ. But at the same time, you have to understand, but if you're claiming a private title use into public property, that's where the commingling problem, the unequal yoking occurs. And we have to say this over and over. You cannot surrender your surname. The surname is already done. It's a surplus. It's debt-free. But when you touch it, you bring it into debt by taking out of the public and using it privately. And I hope that sums up a clarification on that subject.